A very good morning to my dear students of class 7. I am here again with another topic of biology kingdom classification, your chapter number 2. The topics which we are going to cover today are kingdom fungi, types, nutrition and reproduction in fungi, useful and harmful fungi. So look at this diagrams. Most of you are familiar with this. Mushrooms. Some of you must be having this as your favorite food also. Okay, so now let us study about kingdom fungi. You can also pronounce it as kingdom fungi, no problem. In various countries it is pronounced differently. Fungi, 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 whatever. Okay, the spelling should be correct. Now let us learn about the characteristics of kingdom fungi. They are non-green multicellular plants. Non-green means they don't have chlorophyll. Multicellular means they are made up of many cells. So they lack chlorophyll, and since they don't have chlorophyll, they cannot prepare their own food. They cannot manufacture their own food, and that is why they are heterotrophs in nature. Their mode of nutrition is heterotrophic. They depend on others. They show either parasitic or saprophytic mode of nutrition. Either they can be parasites or they can be saprophytes. If they are parasites, that means they live on other organisms or other plants. If they are saprophyte, that means they live on dead and decaying matter. As parasites, fungi draw nutrients from the host plant for their nourishment. So I have already told you this host plant is always at the loser's end, and only the parasites get the advantage. And if they are saprophytes, so in saprophytic nutrition, what they do, they grow on dead and decaying matter. You must have seen mushroom growing on decaying matter. The most suitable condition for their growth is three things are required. They should be dark, it should be moist environment, and it should be warm. So three things are required for their proper growth, that is darkness, moist and moisture and warm place. Some common fungi are rhizopus. In common terms we call it bread mold. If you keep the bread for some time, it becomes stale, and then you can see white or greeny cottony things over it, and that is nothing but rhizopus or the bread mold. And yeast is the another common example. They are commonly seen growing on bread, pickles, vegetables and leather goods. Now in this monsoon season, if you leave your belt or leather jacket, you must have seen the fungus growing on it. Fungi spoil the food material on which they grow. So any food item, if you keep it in a dark place for some time, 1 or 2 days, then you will find that fungi start growing in that, and the food is spoiled. You cannot use it, you cannot have it. Now types of fungi. They may be unicellular, they may be multicellular or filamentous. Filamentous, that means filament like. Depending on the shape of the fungus, they are of three types. If we talk about the shape, they are of three types: thread-like fungi, club fungi and sac fungi. Examples are, if you're talking about thread-like fungi, it is bread mold. Club, it is mushrooms, and sac fungi, it is yeast. You know, yeast is also used in making different kinds of wine, bread, buns to make it fluffy. Later on you'll come to know the uses of fungi also. Bread mold. So we are taking one example from this kingdom, that is bread mold. Looking at the diagram, you must have understood how it grows on the bread. That is why the name given to it is bread mold. Now here you can see it. The bread mold is also called Rhizopus. Bread mold is a multicellular fungus. It appears as a cottony white mass on the rotten bread. If you keep the bread for few days, you will find that some white spots are there, just like cotton. These are thread-like filaments. You can see the thread-like filaments here, okay? And we call them sporangiophore. These are called hyphae, or singular is hypha. Collectively we call them mycelium. Most hyphae grow on the surface of the rotten food material. Need not to be bread only, it may be chapati, bread, cheese. Some hyphae grow downwards. Now all these are hyphae, okay? Some they grow downwards, you can see here. They look like roots. These hyphae are called rhizoids. The hyphae which grow as roots, they are called rhizoids. And some hyphae grow upwards, as I told you earlier, sporangiophores. So all these are which are upwards, they are called sporangiophores. Here it is written. They bear a sac of spores at the tip. Now these ones we call them spore sacs or sporangium. The spore sac appears as black dots on the surface of rotten food material. Sometimes you can see it is white cottony like, but some black dots are also there. These are nothing but these sporangiums, the spore sacs. Some common bread molds are Rhizopus and Mucor. So this was all about the common characteristics of bread mold. It is multicellular. It grows on bread, chapati, cheese, etc. And thread-like filaments are there, which are called hyphae. Singular is hypha. Collectively we call them mycelium. Okay, those which grow up are called sporangiophore. Those which grow down, just like roots, they are called rhizoids. Okay, at the tip of sporangiophores you will find sporangium or the spore sac. Inside this, spores are there. Now one activity is given in your book to study the growth of bread mold on a piece of bread. So this is the piece of bread, and clearly you can see the fungi is growing on it. Just like other experiments, some materials are required. You require a slice of bread, water, a plate, a toothpick, slide, cover slip and microscope. The procedure goes like this. We have to take a piece of bread, then spray some water on it to make it moist. So you have to sprinkle some water to make the bread moist. Now place the moist piece of bread in a plate. So keep it on a plate, and then keep this plate in a dark and warm place for 2 to 3 days. Now you can see that in my presentation I have underlined this 3 words: moist, dark and warm. Why? Because these 3 are the conditions required for the proper growth of fungi. Now observation. After 2-3 days, when you take out that plate with the bread, what will you observe? A white cotton-like growth with small black spots will appear on the moist bread. So you'll see the cottony white thing which has grown on the bread. Now what you have to take a toothpick and take the small portion of this cottony thing. Take a small portion of this cotton with the help of a toothpick. Place the portion on a glass slide. So keep it on the glass slide. Add a drop of water and then cover it with the cover slip. Place a cover slip over this portion and observe it under the microscope. Now right now we don't have microscope, but I will show you. You will see the similar structure as given in the diagram alongside. So this is the bread mold which you keep it on the glass slide and observe it under the microscope. It will look like this. Okay, so more or less it is same. This black ones or brown ones, what you see here, these are the sporangium and these are the sporangiophores. Okay, now nutrition in fungi. Rhizopus is saprophytic. Saprophytic means they depend on nutrients obtained from dead and decaying material. Saprophytes always takes the food from dead and decaying material. The hyphae of the fungus spread through the food medium by means of microscopic tubes. These tubes contain cytoplasm that flows along their walls. Now what the fungus does, it secretes digestive enzyme in the food material. Whichever is the food material is there they secrete the digestive enzymes and also the digested food material back into the hyphae, and that's how they take the food from the food item or the spoiled food or decaying matter. Here you can see they are growing on dead and decaying matter. Now let us talk about respiration in fungi. It is same, they take in oxygen and give out carbon dioxide. Moles show aerobic mode of respiration. Aerobic means in the presence of oxygen. That means they take oxygen. They take in oxygen and release carbon dioxide. The growth of moles is seen in humid places where there is no sunlight or very little sunlight and air. What they do? They draw oxygen from the trapped air between the soil particles. The hyphae grows into the soil and exchange of gases takes place by the means of diffusion through the hyphal walls. Now here you can see in the diagram, this is the hyphae. Commonly we call it collectively mycelium. So the oxygen which is trapped between the soil particles, that is taken in and carbon dioxide is given out. This happens because of diffusion. Moles can also exchange gases in open atmosphere. Not only in the soil but in the atmosphere also they can take in oxygen and give out carbon dioxide, and same process they use, diffusion. The transfer of molecules from the higher concentration to that of lower concentration. Now let us learn about useful fungi. Not all fungi are harmful, some are useful also, and which we use in our day-to-day life. Like bacteria, fungi are also natural scavengers. Natural scavengers means the cleaners. What they do? They decompose the dead and decaying remains of plants and animals, and that's how what they do. They make this earth clean, and also they make the soil fertile by recycling the nutrients back to the soil. Any dead plant or anything is there, decaying thing, they decompose it and they give back the nutrients to the soil, making it fertile. And in order to do that, they also clean the nature. Next one is some species of mushroom are source of food. They are enjoyed as delicacies across the world. All of us we like mushrooms, and here in Sikkim we have got different types of mushrooms growing. Now another one is yeast. It is commercially used in different industries. It is used in breweries for manufacturing alcohol. All the alcohols are made with the help of yeast. It's also used in bakeries to make soft, fluffy and spongy bread and buns. Alcohol and other alcoholic drinks are made by the fermentation of cereals by yeast. And when you make wine, it is the fermentation of grapes that also takes place if yeast is present. And beer requires the fermentation of barley seeds. So all these industries, they use yeast for commercial purpose. Yeast is also used to manufacture vitamin B1. Fungi also play an important role in preparation of acids such as gluconic and citric acids. Now, they are also used in the preparation of some of the medicines and antibiotics. For example, Penicillium notatum is derived from penicillin, and Claviceps purpurea is derived from ergot. Some fungi are used to prepare cheese also. Different kinds of cheese, different flavors of cheese are made by using different types of fungi. Okay. Now you look at this. These are the mushrooms which we eat, and this is Penicillium notatum, and this is yeast. All these are useful fungi. Now let us talk about the harmful fungi. Some fungi produce diseases in man and plants. So in humans they cause diseases as well as in plants. Molds grow on stale bread and moist food substances. They release toxins. Toxins means poisons, which if ingested can cause food poisoning. Sometimes when you take the stale food, then you get food poisoning. So because of this bread molds, you can have food poisoning. Several fungi such as Aspergillus niger and Trichophyton, these two are the ones, they cause diseases. Aspergillus niger causes aspergillosis, ringworm, you know, this is a skin disease. Okay, this is caused by Trichophyton, and aspergillosis is caused by Aspergillus niger. Same way in the plants also they cause diseases. Examples are fruit rot of apple, early blight of potato in plants. Some of the diseases caused by fungi in plants and animals are given in a table which is given after this slide. But before that I will show you few things. This is Aspergillus and aspergillosis disease. This is a lung disease caused by this fungus. Next one, you are very well familiar with this ringworm, and that is caused by Trichophyton. Now the plants, here you can see the leaves, you can see the black spots there. This is the leaf of potato, and here you can see some potatoes, they have got black spots, and if you cut that you will see black or brown spots inside also. These are called early blight of potato disease. And the next one is in apple, that is fruit rot of apple. So these harmful fungi, they cause diseases in human as well as plants. and the table which we are talking about is yet to come. Diseases caused by fungi in humans and plants. Now this is the table which is given in your textbook. So first, in humans, some diseases which are caused, that is aspergillosis, it's a lung disease. Then comes ringworm ear infection, that is also a fungal. Sometimes when you have got infection in the ear, you go to the doctor and they say it is a fungal infection. You go for skin, this one, they say it is a fungal infection. That means caused by fungi. And it also causes mental disorder. Here name of the fungus are also given. Same way in plants, it causes fruit rot of apple, early blight of potato, red rot of sugarcane. This already we have discussed. Red rot of sugarcane. Sometimes you will see that some red spots are there on the leaves and sugarcane as well. Some red spots are there, that is called red rot of sugarcane. This is a fungal disease. Then loose smut of wheat and brown leaf spot on of rice. So these are the diseases caused by fungi in plants and humans. With this, the topic comes to an end. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay positive, and have a great day.